What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Now, yesterday was a little crazy online. I think most of us know what I'm talking about with the Nintendo Direct, the Pokemon Direct, I should say, that took place that kind of left a lot of fans scratching their heads. But there were some other things that happened as well. So you know what, guys, let's get started here. First thing to talk about, though, real quick, the Nintendo E3 presentation, or at least the Direct that they will have, the pre-recorded video that they will show us in their normal Nintendo Direct format, appears to at least have some sort of time frame. It looks like the whole thing is going to run about 30 minutes. Now, to put that in perspective, the Pokemon Direct that we saw yesterday was an 8-minute Direct. So kind of think about that a little bit. The Nintendo Direct appears to be roughly 30 minutes, and this was shown in a press release that was released. It said, on Tuesday, June 13th, the show starts right after Nintendo Spotlight E3 2017 presentation, about 9:30 a.m. Pacific on Wednesday and Thursday. This is talking about the Treehouse event, so they're giving it a time of about 9:30. Of course, the entire event starts at 9, so they are labeling with about a half-hour time frame. Now, a lot of people are a little concerned. They're saying, well, is that enough time to show things and talk about things? Keep this in mind, though. They're not going to this Direct to show a ton of gameplay. They're going to this Direct to get announcements out there and then show gameplay later on in the Treehouse. So I think what we're going to see with the Direct are very quick, rapid-fire kind of announcements and releases. And then, of course, other companies at their press conference will be showing things about the Nintendo Switch more than likely as well. So I don't really think that 30-minute time slot is going to do really, in our minds right now, doing it any justice. I would say let's take a look at it. Even if they give each announcement, 5 minutes or so, you're still getting 6 or so announcements, barring any other quick announcements that show up or any teases later on in the show. So I would say 30 minutes is fine with their normal Nintendo Direct, since there's not going to be a lot of people walking out on stage, people applauding. All that stuff's going to be pretty quick. Boom, 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 boom. Bunch of announcements. We go to Treehouse for them to really talk about them and show them off in gameplay format. Next up is a new controller coming out for Splatoon 2. It's going to be mostly a Pro Controller that is themed after the Splatoon 2 color scheme, which you see here. And to me, I don't really like the color scheme myself. I think it looks a little funny with those bottom handles being two weird colors. I know that's kind of the Splatoon look, but it doesn't really suit me at all. Now, that's not saying, I really need a Pro Controller at this point. I have one, but I am a little more boring with my controllers. I usually keep it one color, usually like if it's like the black controller comes with the Xbox or in this case the Switch Pro Controller, I'll just stick with that. I do know there's a lot of people who will enjoy it, mostly because if you look at the front of it, it has like the splatter effect, which I think looks really nice. It's just those two handles kill it for me. If it was like all black, which technically those handles come off, so it's pretty easy to change, to be honest, I would actually like it. So, but yes, it's coming out July 21st alongside the game. It's slated to have the same price of $70, barring any price at retail being changed or anything. I don't know how limited this will be either. This might be one of those things you find like 2 or 3 in store, they get picked up, then it becomes a collector's item. So if you want one, if your local GameStop or whoever, Best Buy, will let you pre-order it, I would consider doing that for this type of item. Next bit of news comes from For Honor. Remember that game that came out that Ubisoft put out, trying to make it like a big time, like one of those they call service games, so they can keep getting money based on your purchases going through it with all the microtransaction stuff that they added? Well, it looks like it didn't catch on as well as Ubisoft had hoped, and it's shedding players at this point like crazy. So during the beta, they had 71,000 concurrent players online playing. This is all on Steam, where they can kind of view these statistics freely. A lot of analyst sites will kind of post these up, and you can check them out. So 71,000 concurrent users. Then when it came out, went down to 45,000, and at this point, it's down to about 5,000 concurrent players, which is a massive drop off, and it's hard to say why this would happen. A lot of people probably played it, and if you look online, a lot of people said they got kind of bored of it over time. Although they do at least give you a lot of stuff to unlock. It was a very grind heavy type of game. They've been releasing maps. They're up to season 2 now, new maps, heroes, but that hasn't helped at all. So it's hard to say what happened here. It's kind of become kind of a joke if you go online and look at a lot of message boards, or even their own message boards, where they talk about how it's becoming a ghost town and not a lot of people are playing online. Hard to say at this point where we go from here for this game. Do they continue with the franchise? It looks like it was something that people thought was really cool at first, and then they kind of fell off, because as of 2 days ago, they hit their all-time low at 3.1 thousand concurrent users. Next bit of news, guys, has to do with Nintendo stock. and it's doing well. Go figure, right? Well, according to an analyst firm in Jefferies, it's doing so well you need to buy stock right now. And this was in a letter that they sent out to their clients that really subscribe to them and get advice from their analyst group for stocks, and they said, Switch has turned out to be a stealth hit and is positioned to drive Wii Type, the company's last successful console, software sales, and profits cycle. Switch's appeal to core gamers versus Wii to casual gamers is likely to drive higher attach rate and higher earnings than Wii era. Nintendo is also actively targeting and courting its core gamers with a very powerful game lineup in this year one of Switch's launch. We believe this is the most powerful and attractive lineup of any Nintendo game console ever. Now, there's a couple of things to take away from that. One, they are absolutely correct in a few things. One, the biggest thing is, well, the Switch attach rate. A lot of people like to oversell console sales in terms of numbers because that tells you what the install base is, but then they don't go a little further and look at attach rate, which I think is the next most important, maybe even the most important stat between all console statistics. For example, if you have a game that comes out on the Switch right now, let's say the Switch is around, 3.5 million or so, and it sells 1 million copies, that's a pretty good attach rate, being more than a third at that point. Whereas if something comes out on the PS4 that has 60 million install base, let's say, and sells 1 million copies, while 1 million copies sounds like a lot, there were 60 million potential customers out there, right? I mean, that's the way you would think. That's how games like Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, with a very small install base but a very high attach rate, manages to stay relevant with its sales. I mean, that's really why it came over to the Switch, where its attach rate is still really good. So attach rate is how you make money after the fact of selling the system. A lot of people forget this. They say, wow, the PS4 has 60 million units out there, but then a game comes out and sells 1 million copies, and you look at it and go, well, that didn't seem to matter at all. Now, we are coming away from the Wii, which they call a successful system, but the attach rate for that system wasn't the best for games that were outside of Nintendo, for example. The attach rate wasn't as good. 'Cause keep in mind, there were a lot of systems out there, and you wouldn't sell as many copies. It gets even worse. I mean, let's say you have 90 million or 100 million Wiis out there, and you release Carnival games or something, and it sells 500,000 units. You kind of look at that and you go, oh, that's not good at all. And that's kind of what they ran into with the Wii, because it was more casual gamers that did pick it up, like they're saying here, rather than hardcore gamers who have picked up the Switch more than likely, where you get a lot of core gamers now, and that's why Zelda ends up with an over 100% attach rate, because core gamers are buying multiple copies of that game or buying the game before they even get a Switch. Either way, I do think the Switch will be successful. They keep saying 18 million. I don't know if they'll get there because of all this news coming out that they're having an issue with building the systems. The supply of what they're saying LCD screens or NAND chips, they're having a hard time getting this stuff. I don't know how you build the system if you can't get the stuff. We're going to have to see going forward there, but at least analysts are saying, hey, buy stock in Nintendo now. Maybe it's worth looking into just in case, because if the Switch does take off, yes, the stock will go up pretty well. And guys, with that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the big news that happened yesterday, and that is, of course, the Pokemon Nintendo Direct. A lot of people have really big expectations going into that, right? We were thinking, oh, this is going to be it. This is going to be history. A brand new Pokemon game, a mainline Pokemon game, is going to make its way onto what Nintendo considers a home console, despite controversy with the Switch, and it's going to be massive. Well, we were met with some disappointment. Some people were excited because, Pokken Tournament's there. That's great. But then they kind of hit us with what I still look at as kind of like a half-hearted attempt at another Pokemon game with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. But they are also giving us a Virtual Console release of Gold and Silver. Some people are pretty excited about that, actually, which is odd because you could technically pop in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, but nonetheless, they announced it. And once again, this is Nintendo taking advantage, well, alongside the Pokemon Company, taking advantage of the fact that a lot of people who have the Switch right now didn't have the Wii U. Pokken Tournament is going to be new to a lot of people who have the Switch right now, as I would expect. Like I said, several people who have the Switch just did not own a Wii U. I know several people now that are like that. So this will be new to them, which is good. And it's going to come out September 22nd, sooner than I thought, to be honest with you guys. It seems like this is a very good port moved over. It's going to have 3v3 team battles, online ranked play, and friendly-only group matches. They're also going to give you the option of using single Joy-Con play, which is, at this point, I think should be common, or at least normal for any Switch game that comes out. That's kind of the idea, is that each Joy-Con can act as a controller. Will that be the ideal way to play? Probably not, but at least if you kind of take it over to a friend's house and you set it up on a tabletop or something, you can at least each play it together or against each other. They're also adding 5 new Pokemon, including Scizor and Darkrai, to name a few. The box art looks pretty cool, actually. It's a good announcement. The problem is so many people expected something different because some publication was telling people that this was going to happen, that Pokemon Stars was going to be released, and for some reason Eurogamer decided it was a good idea to put that out there, hype fans up, for the past few months, and then the massive letdown sent people crazy despite this actually being a pretty good announcement. The part that I don't think is a good announcement, again, I know some Pokemon fans will be excited for this, is Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which they just look like, to me anyway, maybe it's just me, they look like half-hearted attempts at like follow-up games. For example, like a Black and White 2, which even right now at face value, that at least looks like it had a little more effort. They are saying it's going to have a full, like a brand new single-player mode in that same universe at the same time. New Pokemon that were not in the other one. And I guess at face value, yes, that is another Pokemon game, but with what we were built up to believe would be there, and that's kind of rumors' fault at that point and people putting stuff out there, it looks, I don't know, I just look at it and I say, oh man, that's what they came up with. And releasing on the same day, September 22nd, Gold and Silver will release on the Virtual Console, on the 3DS. Not sure why that's not on the Switch, although we don't know anything about the Virtual Console, so maybe it's just, it's just not ready yet. And overall, this Direct was not bad. I just think a lot of people had their hype level like sky high on this thing, and when we see what they gave us, while it's not bad considering this is just stuff they could not fit into E3, and they'll show us more at Treehouse according to them, you know what? I think a lot of people were just expecting too much from this. I really wanted to see, I know, trust me, I really wanted to see a mainline Pokemon game on the Switch. Disappointing to say the least, but there's still plenty of time down the Switch's long life, I assume. By long, long nowadays, guys, is like 5 years for a console, let's be honest here. But long life cycle to where it can get that Pokemon mainline game. Maybe it's not next year, maybe it's 2019, maybe it'll be something that caps off the end of the Switch. It's hard to say. But Game Freak went with the install base over the new hardware, and it's hard to blame them from a business perspective because realistically, if you look at Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, doesn't look much different from Sun and Moon right now. So it seemed like it was probably easy on their part to take the same assets, move them over, program it for whatever they want to do for the 3DS, in that case with new Pokemon, and put it out there as an incremental upgrade to the Pokemon fan base. Well, buy it, let's be honest. Either way, I am excited to at least get Pokken Tournament on the Switch. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'll be playing it. Gold and Silver, I have them. I'm not really that concerned about picking those up right now on the Virtual Console, and I probably won't get Ultra Moon or Ultra Sun. I don't know. I just look at that and I go, man, although who knows, maybe the Pokemon bug creeps up on me. It's so hard for me to go from the Switch to the 3DS now because that 3DS screen just it in no way compares to the Switch's screen. The Switch just trounces it in terms of everything at this point, and that's why I really wanted that mainline Pokemon game on there, although I will have a 2DS XL. Maybe I will be like, let's let this 2DS XL stretch its legs with the new Pokemon game. We'll see, though. And that's it for Newswave today, guys. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me think about anything we talked about today, whether it is this Pokemon Direct. Let me know what you guys think about this, because I'm very curious with your thoughts on this. I have a feeling a lot of people were very hyped up or excited for this because a lot of people were led to believe this with Eurogamer's reporting. But let me know what you guys think about this, because it's tough, but at least Pokken Tournament looks good. If you're excited for the Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, that's fine. Just let me know what you think about how it looked when you saw it in the trailer. Also, let me know what you think about the Nintendo stock or the Splatoon controller. Very curious to hear your thoughts. That's it for now, guys. I will see you next time.